Well, thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Agriculture, Water Resources and Northern Australia. Will the Deputy Prime Minister update the House on actions the government is taking to ensure energy is reliable and affordable for hard-working farmers and regional communities like those in my electorate of Maranoa? Is he aware of any alternative approaches?
The Deputy Prime Minister has the call.
Well, thank you very much, Mr Speaker, and I thank the honourable member for his question. And the honourable member is very aware of how we're making sure that the people in Augathella or in Birdsville, we actually got a new optic fibre out there to Birdsville as part of the Coalition's telecommunications. The people in Dalby, people in Dirranbandy, how we are making sure that their power remains both reliable and affordable. It is vitally important. And one of the key components the member for Maranoa would be aware of is our belief in baseload power, especially baseload power from such things as the three coal-fired power stations in the member's electorate. The coal-fired power stations at Millmerran, Tarong, there's actually 2 power stations at Tarong, and also at Kogan Creek. We believe in this baseload power stations because we must get baseload onto the grid to keep the power and keep the lights on. This is despite the fact that Queensland is currently gouging the system. The Queensland state government is gouging the system and pulling dividends out of the system in such a way as we saw $4.1 billion in borrowings come off its accounts by basically gouging ergon and making sure that the poles and wires paid for by the people therefore pay off the incompetence of the state Labor government. Now, in this process, we are making sure that we stand behind the blue-collar workers. They're in the member for Maranoa's seat. We do not believe that blue-collar workers are politically incorrect. We believe that blue-collar workers deserve the respect of a job. Those blue-collar workers at the Yarraman Timber Mill, those blue-collar workers at the Goat Abattoir at Charleville, those blue-collar workers who you'll find at Oakey, the blue-collar workers you'll find in the Pork Abattoir at Kingaroy, the blue-collar workers looking at chasing gas all through the system and making sure that money goes back to the towns. Now, you asked if there were any alternate policies, and there is one. The Labor Party believes in 50% renewables. The member for Maribyrnong, who has his back turned to me again today, as he always has his back turned to us, the member for Maribyrnong, who has his back turned on blue-collar workers, the member for Maribyrnong, who does not stand behind blue-collar workers, who turns his back on blue-collar workers. Well, his policy is 50% renewables, 45% emission reduction target and 0 net emissions by 2050. Now, he's been rather silent on this policy, and I think the question is whether the member for Maribyrnong, the leader of the Labor Party, the party that once upon a time believed in labourers, didn't turn their back on labourers, whether he wants to come to the dispatch box and once more re-announce his belief that blue-collar workers should be put out of a job, whether he once again can turn his back on blue-collar workers and instead of looking after blue-collar workers, he returns to his eternal pursuit of crystals for negative ions and turmeric lattes and looking after all the people on Balmain, but nobody in